Emma Wilder used to classify mornings with the same precision she applied to quarterly reports. There were gray mornings, when the sky sulked but the trains ran on time. Sludge mornings, when rain glazed every surface and delays multiplied. And finally, black hole mornings, when nothing, not coffee, podcasts, or that faint tingle of Paycheck Friday, could counteract the drag of her commute into downtown Harbor City. The first Monday in October was shaping up to be peak black hole. Her umbrella had inverted in the wind, her phone's battery was already at 12%, and she had just missed her usual 7:12 local. She hurried down the steps of Bayleaf Station, heels clicking over damp cement, expecting to wait 30 minutes for the next train. Instead, she found a sleek silver and teal carriage idling at the platform, sleek enough to look new, but whimsical enough to seem out of place. On its flank, in looping carnival lettering, someone had painted Line L4, the laughing commuter fuel, good jokes, and hearty chuckles. The digital marquee above the doors shimmered with an animated emoji that was undoubtedly guffawing. Emma rubbed rainwater from her lashes. Maybe some social media stunt? She had a deck to finish for her boss and no time for viral marketing surprises. Yet the door slid open with a polite ding, releasing a warm breath of cinnamon and something citrusy, and a conductor in a lavender waistcoat beckoned. "All aboard the laugh line," he trilled. "Next stop, wherever you need to go, provided you can help power us with one sincere laugh." Emma looked down the platform for a real train. None appeared. Other commuters were already stepping onto the oddball carriage, trading weary shrugs but also half smiles, drawn as much by the prospect of a dry seat as by curiosity. "Fine," Emma muttered and boarded. First rule of commuting, take the train that's in front of you. Inside, she found plush seats upholstered with abstract cartoons, overhead luggage racks strung with fairy lights, and speakers piping in a swing rendition of "I've Got the World on a String." Instead of ads for dentist offices and law firms, the wall panels displayed rotating one-liners. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Under each joke sat a 5-star rating bar. People tapped the panels, boosting stars when they chuckled. At the end of the car, behind a glass partition, turbines the size of coffee tables glowed soft gold. Mounted above them was a meter that read, "Latter level 78%. A neon needle flicked up whenever someone laughed out loud. The lavender waist-coated conductor clicked down the aisle, twirling a whistle on a ribbon. He was tall, somewhere between spry middle age and ageless wizard, his salt and pepper hair shaved on the sides, leaving a pompadour that practically winked. A name tag read Merlin J. Beckett, Chief Mirth Officer. "Good morning, riders," he said, voice rolling like confetti. "We run on renewable glee guilt-free, carbon-free, and occasionally caffeine-free. If the laughter meter drops below 50%, we stall. That simple. So keep those jokes coming. Groaners accepted, dad jokes encouraged, puns happily punished." The doors hissed shut, and the train glided forward soundlessly, smoothly, as though the rails had turned to ribbon. Emma felt pressure ease in her shoulders. Maybe it was the seat design. Maybe she was going delirious. Across the aisle, a stout man in a postal uniform cleared his throat. "Okay, first try," he announced. "Knock, knock." A half-dozen voices, some shy, some game, replied, "Who's there?" "Lettuce. Lettuce who?" "Lettuce in, it's raining." The pun was ancient, but the postal worker delivered it with puppy eagerness, and a ripple of laughter lifted through the car. The needle sprang to 83%. The turbines thrummed. Emma caught herself grinning, then looked down at her phone, pretending to draft an email. Enjoyment on public transit felt almost illicit. But the grin snuck back. 2 stops later, the laugh line deposited her precisely where she needed to transfer to the downtown loop on schedule. When she stepped onto the platform, Emma found herself inhaling like someone just freed from underwater. Other riders looked similarly oxygenated, cheeks flushed, postures uncrumpled. Even the overhead lighting seemed brighter, though maybe that was just her vision adjusting. She chalked the experience up to novelty and filed it under Weird Monday, certain it would vanish by Tuesday. Yet the next morning, there it was again. Carriage gleaming, emoji marquee winking. Rain had been replaced by the sort of lifeless cloud cover that bleaches ambition, but a cluster of commuters waited around the laugh line doors, chuckling at something on one passenger's phone. Emma boarded, this time choosing a front row seat. Merlin Beckett greeted her with a 2-finger salute. Ah, Miss Business Blazer, returning for round two? I just go where the schedule sends me, she said, too quickly defensive. Of course, he said with a gravity that suggested he didn't believe her at all. Ridership loyalty is 126% voluntary. He moseyed off to introduce newcomers to the rules, and the train pulled from the station with that same frictionless glide. Emma noticed details she hadn't the day before. The subtle lemony scent might be actual citrus peels drying in glass bowls at the end of each row. The fairy lights weren't LEDs, but strands of bioluminescent algae. And each seat pocket contained a small notebook labeled Share your funniest true story. We'll read one each day. At Murdoch Junction, an elderly woman with steel gray braids launched into an anecdote about accidentally texting her podiatrist a message meant for her grandson, something about leveling up in Ninja Pirates. The doctor replied with sandal recommendations. Laughter level skimmed 92%. By Friday, Emma had become a regular. She made friends without quite meaning to. There was Arjun Patel, an investment analyst whose specialty was puns so bad they circled back to genius. Maya Dominguez, a 17-year-old robotics whiz commuting to her dual credit courses, armed with meme references and deadpan timing. And Mr. De Groot, a retired stage magician who produced rubber chickens from impossible pockets. The five of them began sitting in the same cluster and unspoken club. Merlin never interfered, though Emma sometimes caught him watching with satisfaction, as if this small community were the very coal shovel pushing his locomotive. What surprised Emma most was how the train reframed the rest of her day. Marketing meetings felt less like cage matches, the office lighting less migraine bright. If someone snapped at her over a typo, she heard Arjun's groan-worthy wordplay echoing in her head and let the barbs slide. She'd always associated humor with after-work decompression, happy hour drinks, streaming stand-up at night. The laugh line inserted levity at the other end, inoculating her before the stress virus hit. Then came the stall. It happened the second Wednesday of November. A cold front had barreled through overnight, leaving sidewalks iced and tempers brittle. Passengers shuffled aboard the laugh line, hunched inside scarves, conversation minimal. Merlin greeted everyone in his usual buoyant tone, but Emma noticed the fine lines at his temples deepen. The turbines idled with less glow than usual, and the meter hovered precariously at 54%. We'll need some quick laughs this morning, folks, Merlin said after closing the doors. Weather's sapping residual energy. Arjun attempted a nautical pun. I'd tell you a joke about a broken anchor, but it might not hold water, earning a smattering of smiles, but no genuine bursts. Maya shared a cat video, mild chuckles only. The needle dipped to 52%, climbed to 53%, then sagged. The train jerked once, lights flickering. They entered Harbor Tunnel, a 2-mile bore under the bay. Midway through, the turbines died with a pitiable wheeze, and the carriage coasted to a halt. Emergency strip lights bathed the car in pinkish gloom. Merlin stepped into the aisle, hat pressed against his chest, stalled. We'll get moving the moment we push past 50%. Not dangerous, just inconvenient. A commuter near the rear groaned, in frustration, not mirth. Emma's own stomach tightened. She had a client pitch at 9, and every minute counted. Someone pounded the call button. A polished woman in a graphite suit, Serena Claremont, as introductions later revealed, stood up. This is absurd, she said. What regulatory body approved a train without a real power source? I'll be filing complaints. The Rail Commission certified us, Merlin replied calmly, provided we maintain a secondary battery for emergencies, which we absolutely will activate if laughter proves unreachable. But hope is cheaper than lithium. He winked. The joke clanged. Silence brewed, thick and damp. Emma sensed panic coiling. The tunnel amplified it. No windows showed daylight, only concrete. She rose. Let's try a rapid-fire round, she suggested to the car, pulse ticking. Everyone share the silliest thing that's happened at work, no filters. A few faces brightened. A tall barista admitted to steaming milk with the pitcher lid still on, causing a foam explosion that painted his manager's suit. Mild laughter flittered. The needle flipped to 49%, a chilling reminder that not all laughter created equal. Emma racked her brain. Joke websites. She didn't have a signal underground. She tried to quip about marketing buzzwords, tripped over her own punchline. Gauges stayed red. Serena folded her arms, foot tapping. Does forced joviality strike anyone else as dystopian? The word pricked Emma's pride, yet Emma understood the frustration. So why wasn't she giving up? Over the past month, the laugh line had become more than transportation. It was proof that collective mood mattered, that strangers could lighten each other's burdens by simply choosing to. She inhaled and spoke louder than she ever had on public transit. Laughter isn't about perfect jokes, she said, voice echoing off metal. It's relief, recognition. We're stuck, so let's admit it's a little ridiculous to be powering a train with giggles. Let's lean into ridiculous. She clambered onto her seat and spread her arms. I'm going to tell you the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. If you laugh, great. If you don't, at least you'll know someone else's life is messier than yours. Her cheeks flamed, but she launched in. 2 years ago at the company retreat, we did a trust fall workshop on a dock. I, being competitive, volunteered to fall backward off the end to prove my trust in the team. Mid-fall, a seagull dive-bombed my hair. The team lunged to catch me. I screamed, the bird screamed, I windmilled straight into the water, rolled under the dock, surfaced with seaweed as a wig, and shouted, "I quit," in front of the entire senior leadership. Silence, then a snort from somewhere. A dam burst and laughter cascaded down the aisle. Even Serena covered her mouth, shoulders shaking. The meter catapulted to 57%, 63%, 70%. Turbines hummed awake, lights brightened from blush to warm gold. The train jerked forward, picking up velocity in increments that matched each ripple of mirth. In less than a minute, they slid from the tunnel into clear morning, sunlight flashing through windows. Boxy warehouses, then the glimmer of the harbor rolled past. Passengers applauded. Emma sat back down, heartbeat thrumming like a jazz drum. Serena approached her seat. "That took guts," she said, offering a hand. "I'm Serena, mergers and acquisitions, which explains my charm deficit." Emma laughed, shook the hand. "Emma, marketing, which explains why I just sold everyone on my humiliation story." They laughed again, an echo that nudged the meter toward the high 80s until the gauge turned emerald, a color Emma hadn't seen before. After that incident, stalling never again threatened the laugh line, partly because riders refused to let the meter dip. Regulars developed rituals, joke of the day contests, pun-offs, impromptu kazoo quartets. Merlin stocked a prop trunk near the conductor's booth. Feather boas, Groucho glasses, bubble solution. Word spread, ridership swelled. The city transit authority tried replicating the concept on other lines, but plastic jokes here signs, stapled to drab cars, lacked the intangible ingredient, the sense that laughter wasn't garnish, but fuel. One December morning, Merlin paused by Emma's seat, fingers laced behind his back like a professor. "Ms. Wilder, I believe you owe us a formal performance. That seagull routine was a hit." "Oh, no," she protested, though her smile said maybe. "Consider Friday's commute your stage. Share 5 minutes of whatever you like. Stories, jokes, interpretive dance. Payment, lifetime laugh line pass." Arjun overheard and slapped the back of her seat. "Do it! We'll provide backup rim shots." Friday arrived, draped in frost so thick the city looked sugared. Emma boarded to find the carriage decked in paper snowflakes and peppermint garlands. Merlin handed her a microphone that resembled a candy cane. She inhaled, picturing herself months earlier. Stiff blazer, earbuds barricading her from humanity. Now, those same morning minutes felt charged with possibility. She began, "Good morning. Laugh line legends." The microphone amplified her voice with a warm reverb. "I once thought commuting was a penalty for not being born rich, but I've learned we can alchemize dead time into a daily festival if we share the one resource corporate budgets can't slash: ridiculous joy." She told fresh stories like forwarding a kissing face emoji to her CFO instead of her boyfriend, and coaxed volunteers to act out sound effects. When the set ended, the laughter meter topped 97%, and the turbines emitted a melodic chime none had heard before. The lights strobed rainbow for 3 seconds, confetti cannons snapped from the luggage racks, and Merlin declared a new record. On the platform at Harbor Central, as riders dispersed, Emma lingered. Merlin adjusted his lavender waistcoat and approached. "You've become a conductor of sorts," he said. "Care to make it official? We're expanding to the North Loop next quarter." "I could use a deputy mirth officer." Emma thought of her marketing cubicle, the endless cascade of slogans for products she barely cared about. She thought about how light her heart felt here, compare contrast to the heaviness she once categorized as black hole. "I'll need to negotiate mornings only," she said, half joking, half not. "We trade in laughter, not hours," Merlin countered. "Schedule is a negotiation with delight itself," she laughed. Then, yes, count me in. That night, she typed an email to her boss requesting a part time consultative role, citing an opportunity in sustainable transit innovation with a side focus on community engagement. It sounded impressively jargon laden. Maybe the CFO would send her a kissing emoji in solidarity. Months later, riders on the new North Loop encountered a fresh face in a turquoise waistcoat. Deputy Mirth Officer Emma Wilder, Master of Ceremonies. She carried a notebook bulging with passenger jokes, a pocket full of bubble wands, and the unshakable conviction that a commute didn't have to drain life, it could generate it, carriage by carriage, giggle by giggle. Every dawn, she stepped onto the platform and called, "Tickets out, punchlines ready." People looked up from their screens, cracked smiles, and boarded. The train rolled forward, propelled by combustion engines of cackles and snorts, turning what once was dead air between destinations into a daily rehearsal for celebration. And if a cynical newcomer scoffed that laughter couldn't possibly move steel and circuitry, Emma would simply direct them to the glass partition where turbines glowed like captured sunrise, the needle dancing to each chuckle. "Try me," she'd say, offering the microphone. The train could use a fresh joke. 9 times out of 10, the newcomer accepted, because skepticism is just curiosity waiting for an excuse to laugh, and the laugh line glided on as unstoppable as delight itself.